Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is Tatiana, and today is kind of an impromptu stream a little bit. I didn't plan for it. In fact, I decided to start it just because I thought that it probably would be helpful to have a slightly more personal discussion about this newly announced headset, Quest Pro, because yeah, $1,500 is a big commitment. It's a lot of money to spend on a headset, and I'm sure that many of you still have questions about it even after watching tons of reviews and videos. You know, there's sometimes could be just slipped, and not everybody has 100% retention on all the videos that you've been watching, so it's easy to miss some things. I've been reading some of your questions already. I'm going to start by just saying hi to everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Brewhog. Hi, Alakazam, Appleman. Ooh, Appleman. Wonder if you're waiting for the new Apple headset. Hi, Greg. Hello, Sergey. Again, I can see some familiar faces here from the yesterday's stream. How are you doing? Like, how are you feeling? I bet it's pretty overwhelming because so many things have been, announced and presented to us in such a short time. I wasn't even aware of many of the things that were introduced yesterday, so we can talk about them too, like the sort of the avatars thing. Hello, Mr. Generous Green, Ernesto, hi. It doesn't have to be a very long stream. I do want to get some really nice information packed in here to answer all your burning questions that maybe there's something that's like blocking you from making the decision to buy or not to buy. So let's try to get it done. Let's try to really find the answer for each of you, whether this is something that you should buy or maybe you're better off waiting for a different kind of a headset. Okay, so I think maybe before starting, I can go over some of the most major specs just to give a little bit of a background about this headset. So obviously, let's see, I can probably stream in like this. Can play this just as a background kind of a thing. Of course, we have our specs. It's going to be 1800 by 1920 pixels per eye, but that is 37% more pixels per inch, so the pixel density on this headset is going to be better. It's going to result in better clarity, and it does result in better clarity. I can't talk about it more. It's slightly heavier than Quest 2. I know that you've noticed it right here where I put the weight, and just a sec here. Yeah, but it's not necessarily a disadvantage because, as you know, the battery is located right here at the back, and that basically means that it's lighter on the front. It's probably it's definitely much lighter on the front than Quest, because imagine with Quest, most of the weight is here, so all the 500 gram that you see here is like mostly this, maybe 400, 450, because there was a soft strap. With here it's 722, and there's no way that this part is as heavy as the back. It's more kind of balanced, so it's not really a disadvantage if you're worried about that. Okay, I'll keep this playing. I'm going to start going through your comments. I hope that I will not miss it. If I do miss your comment, feel free to drop it in there again. Okay, yeah, the price is really sad. Oh, I'm going to address one thing from a Brewhawk, because I saw your comment to my video. I haven't replied yet, but I see the same question here. So yesterday I went to, also impromptu to MRTV to kind of just say a few words about this headset as he was reacting to my video. And I mentioned that controllers have USB-C ports. And I swear I thought I saw them. But then I started doubting myself because I was checking the pictures and I was trying to find it and I actually couldn't. So I reached out back to the team and I asked them if there is a way, in fact, to charge the controllers without them actually being on the charging dock. And what I found, basically, it's not a USB-C port that will be charging your controllers, but it's going to be this cable right here. See if I can zoom it in a little bit. So it comes with this cable that has the same kind of type as the charging dock right here that you use to charge the controllers. so you can use the cable. But one thing that confuses me is that it's only one cable. So controller charging cable comes in the box, but it's only one. So I wonder if it means that you can charge only one controller at a time. That is going to be strange, and I will keep asking them these questions. And of course, I probably will get an answer before I actually get a headset in my hands. But yeah, it's actually still a question. I really thought that they were just like USB ports, just like in the Quest Pro, but no, I was actually wrong about that. It can be charged by a cable, but I hope that there are two cables and not just one to charge both of the controllers at the same time. So yeah, here's my correction. Since we're talking about the controllers, a little bit on the battery life. Basically, these controllers have computers in their own. They have these Snapdragon chips in them. They're functioning as self-tracking devices that track your movements regardless of their position. And somehow that translated into really short battery life. And everything that I've heard so far leads to this information that they will have the same battery life as Quest, which is 1 to 2 hours based on the use. Yeah, that's the time to say boo. This, if anything, if I were to choose one deal breaker about this headset, and I'm sure that you will agree, this is going to be the battery life. That is something that is very hard to compromise. And if with the headset there are probably some ways to make the third party battery like attached to the back or something, for controllers it has to be something like a battery power bank wrist straps to be connected to your wrists so that you can use controllers to make it mobile. It's very, very odd, and I'm really worried about it because unlike software that can be updated and upgraded later, that is the hardware part that I don't know how they're going to be addressing it or fixing it post factum after people already started buying the headset. So there you have it. Let me read what you guys are saying about that. I can wire the headset to a power bank so it's not an issue, but the controller's battery life is a deal breaker. I know, right? That's why, like, that was one of the reasons why I'm saying maybe don't jump the gun to pre-ordering this headset for this price, not really understanding all the specs. I will reach out to them again, specifically asking about this little cable, whether there are two cables or how is it going to work, because I agree, even if you sit down and you have a stationary experience, you're working in front of the PC or you have a five virtual screens, that's okay. But controllers, how are you going to work? Unless they are really betting on your hand tracking ability. And I think that there was a question from someone about hand tracking. I can see your questions about display and readability. I'll get to that as well. Thank you. If I don't, then you can send your question again. But something about hand tracking, yes, it supports hand tracking. Hand tracking is working. The only app that I got to try with hand tracking was the Horizon Workrooms. And with that app, the Workroom was designed to use hands first. So you can still use controllers, but it was designed for you to be able to use your hands because you can connect your keyboard to it and you need to be able to be taking notes. And it works actually really nicely because you get to, let me change that over here. I'm not showing it. Yeah, I don't have a footage for that. They wouldn't let us record our own footage. But the way it works is basically you can connect the supported keyboard, you can connect an MacBook, and then anytime that your hands are getting closer to the keyboard, the pass-through turns on, the color pass-through turns on, which is really nice. Like, it's so much better than Quest 2, and not just because it's colorful, but because it's stereoscopic. So you might not realize it, but the black and white pass-through that you see in Quest 2 is actually monoscopic. It doesn't have that depth perception. You don't perceive the depth the way you do with stereoscopic view. And whenever, it's especially noticeable when you're trying some kind of mixed reality apps like that Piano Vision app that I try, when the little notes are falling on top of your keys, it's actually hard to play that game because the keys kind of look flat compared to the 3D blocks. And I assume that that problem will not exist with the color pass-through. So so that app, going back to Horizon Workrooms, you will be able to use it with hand tracking, and of course you can use hand tracking for anything, but that's the only app that I got to try and test hand tracking with it, and I was really impressed because it would allow me to write, to use the keyboard, and that's when I was able to also see the clarity of the pass-through, because I could actually see and functionally use the keyboard. I could type text and I would make very minimal typos, not more than I usually make, and that was really impressive. Yes, and no fast charging is also a disadvantage, because basically that means that your headset, your controllers, will take as much time to charge as it takes to discharge. So about 2 hours to charge your Quest and your controllers. Yes, so Pico 4 lacks it, that's true, and I really, really want to see it. That's why I actually bought Pico 4, I ordered it through a German Amazon, and it will be delivered to me in about a little bit over a week. So it's hard to get the sample to US, and it probably will take much longer, but because I really wanted to have that experience sooner, to kind of compare it to Pro, to Quest 2, didn't really want to wait, and I thought that it's worth to spend the money and get Pico 4. I've heard amazing things about it, been looking forward to checking it out. So Pico 4 isn't really the right competitor for Quest Pro, but it's still interesting to compare their specs and this hardware that's being packed in both of the headsets. Did you try the pencil mode on Touch Pro controllers? Do you mean the little tip, the marker tip on the back? If that's what you're, yeah. So I did try that. Again, that was in Horizon Workrooms, and I got to write it on the whiteboard, and essentially it felt like using a very thick marker. So I'm trying to remember now, but I think the controller of Quest Pro is a little bit more round instead of here it's like an oval. Doesn't want to focus on it. I'm gonna hide my face. Here we go. So it's kind of like an oval shape. I think the Quest Pro controllers are a little bit more round, and they're smaller. So when I was writing with it kind of felt like just holding a thick marker. And when I was writing, I could recognize my handwriting. So it didn't feel like I was just doodling like a 5-year-old. But yeah, I can see that taking notes would be functional, even though I've never had to take notes in VR since I started the channel. But again, I didn't really use it for productivity anyway. Okay, let me go back to some questions. I'm sure I've missed quite a few. Clarity difference when it comes to reading text. Yes, so that was another question. Thank you. Compared to use it as a screen replacement compared to Quest 2. Any thoughts? Yeah, screen replacement is an ambitious kind of undertaking that they are trying to do. So they try to convince you that you can buy it and you can set up 5 virtual monitors and you can be just as productive in VR as you are sitting in front of your real monitors. We didn't get to try the virtual office where I would see tons of monitors with little text and actually try to make something, get something done. We really only had 15 minutes testing for each app. But one app that I did try that had tons of little text in it that I had to read and follow the instructions of the teacher was an app called TribeXR, and I will play it right here. TribeXR is an app that was made to teach you how to DJ. and I've never DJ'd before, and I was very skeptical about it. But here we go. So this is a good example. So you have this huge mixers, like multi-$1,000, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment in front of you, and you have a tutor who's teaching you how to DJ. So they're telling you what to do, how it works, how to mix tracks, and all of these little knobs, they're all ultra realistic, just like the real thing, just like the real mixers. And the teacher would tell you what you need to do there and how these knobs work. And it would be impossible to take advantage of this app if you weren't able to read the text on those knobs. If they're too small, you can kind of hover over it and a little table like will show up with a text, but it's still very small and you can read it very clearly. So I think that that was the app that impressed me with the clarity of the text and the fine fonts and stuff like that. So this made me believe that perhaps you can use Quest Pro for multiple monitors and to be productive and read little text. It's very, very sharp and crisp when you like zoom in and get closer to it. It really works. And again, I will be, sharing my impressions with you here. But just keep in mind that we tested like 4 different apps, plus Horizon Workroom, plus just a demo experience of eye and face tracking. And 15 minutes per app was not nearly enough to have an in-depth analysis of this. So whatever I'm not sure, or I can't like be 100% positive about these qualities, I will take note. And when I receive the headset, I will definitely address all of those so that you get that information as fastly as you can. Okay, let's see some more. Disco VR DJ Tatiana. Right, I never thought that I could like do it, but I managed to remix my first track with the tutor and it worked and I actually learned it. That was really, really cool. Like this is a professional app for DJing. Like I'm not even kidding, and it's not new. I think it's been around for a while now, but it's only really now taking advantage of this color pass-through and this clarity in Quest 2. It's really, really fun. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna go a little bit back because I might have missed some of the comments. Share. If Quest Pro will be able to share pass-through in video calls since it's work focused, like sharing what you see and are working on with someone in Teams. This is a good question. Whatever I will say will be a speculation. What I know is that you cannot record pass-through inside your headset, just like you cannot record pass-through on Quest 2 unless you connect it to SideQuest and it streams to your computer and you grab it from there. I don't know why they did it. It's a mixed reality first headset and you can't record pass-through. That's weird. I think that maybe it could be for privacy reasons. So if that's the same reason, then probably not. Maybe you can't see the pass-through. I don't know how it's actually going to work. But it is a good question, and I will ask that to people who will know the answer. Now, do you mean that if they can see your pass-through if you video call them in VR? Or like some specific app, like Horizon Workrooms? I'm not sure. Okay. By having 2 panels instead of 1 with this headset, is it overly noticeable when you put your VR on your... No, not at all. It doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel odd or awkward. It's actually it felt great in terms of comfort and in terms of the sweet spot. It was just amazing. When I put on the headset, I kind of forget that I'm wearing it. I didn't have to adjust it or readjust it or try to fix it. I set up my IPD, so basically you move your lenses with your own hands, but the software actually tells you where to stop. So when you put it shows you which IPD you're currently on. So 65, 64, 63, bling, it would tell you, okay, great, you finished it. So whenever you reach the setting that works for you, the app will stop you and tell you that, okay, this is good. And that is allowed by the eye tracking technology. It can detect when your IPD is set correctly. Okay. Clarity difference. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about clarity difference already. It's good for coding work. Oh man, I mean, that'll be a lot of text. Again, very good question, and it will require, I think it will require extensive testing, Wolfgang, because I want to spend, like, I want to see what I will feel like what my brains will be like when I'm sitting for hours connected to the power, right? When I'm sitting for like 3-4 hours working on a video or something. I mean, I'm not a coder, I won't be able to work on a code, but the product designer, I think, who was presenting it to us, they said that they spent like hours preparing for that presentation that they gave us and for the release in the headset. I don't know if they were telling the truth or they were just trying to promote the headset as a workplace. I don't know. It's from the testing that I did, it felt pretty comfortable unless you over tighten it. Like, don't tighten it too hard because you will have a bad mark. If you do it a little bit lighter, you forget that you're wearing a headset. It felt great. Let's see what else you guys have. Oh, sorry, I zoomed it in way too much. Then we put it back over here. This video is over, so I'll play a different one just for you to have something to look at while I'm reading through your comments. If I missed your question again, just send it in the chat one more time. I'm trying to keep up. The Quest 3 won't have eye or face tracking, so it sounds like social gamers will want to get the Pro. We'll see. I mean, don't say that it won't have eye or face tracking. Anything can happen. It's still a long time away. Is there a real Windows 10 or 11 integration instead of virtual screens rendered apps? Not as far as I know. Microsoft Office is as much as the Windows integration goes, but it's more like an app. Call with the manager. I can see what I'm seeing. So something about these calls where you'll be able to like join in, it's going to be pretty interesting because you'll be able to join as a VR avatar, but your teammates can join as little squares of their own camera. So you'll have like avatars sitting at the table. Some of them will be avatars, some of them will be videos, like a Zoom call. So it's definitely going to be like a mixed reality. We knew nothing about Teams. Teams was something introduced yesterday. We were not testing any of that. So unfortunately, that's something that I'll have to learn more about on my own before I tell you more details about it. Let's see what else. Drift issues. Do you know what kind of joysticks? Can't speak much about what type of joystick. Again, the testing was really, rather short. Oh, yeah, sure. I can do the spotlight. Keep forgetting about that. Controllers heat too much? No, I didn't notice it. Oh, no. Again, no. This would not be the right answer because every time, so there were like 5 rooms. Every time we would test a different app, we would use a different headset. So I would put my headset on in this room and I would test this one app with this developer. Then I'll put it back and I'll go and take a different one. And they would be switching them and wiping them all the time because of like COVID and all the sanitary precautions. So again, not enough time for me to notice these kind of thermal changes. What happened to GTA San Andreas? I don't know. They literally ghosted us with that. They refused to even say their name. He who shall not be named. I'm thinking to buy the new controllers. Okay, the $300 controllers. Okay, I'm wondering if Quest 3 will be able to use them, and if it will be possible to buy the Quest 3 without them in the future. Well, guys, Quest 3 hasn't even been mentioned. It hasn't been announced. It hasn't been addressed in any way. I can't talk about that. We literally don't know. There's no any official information, and I'm not, the leak expert or the leak analyst. I can't speak about that confidently, so I would rather not say anything at all. If you want the controllers for your Quest 2, feel free. With Quest 3, it would be a bet. Like, that's just the way it is. You will be betting on it. I would say that it would be very uncommon of them if they don't make it cross-compatible. It sounds like they make it like an accessory. If they want more people to get it, it will only make sense to make them more compatible with that. But that's all I can say. Hi. Did the headset really feel like it's 722 grams? Again, it didn't feel heavy at all. And if any of you played PlayStation VR, like the first one, of course, the old one, it's heavy and it's big, but it's all about how that weight is distributed. So with the Quest, it's light, but if you have all the weight in the front, I mean, you all remember what it's like wearing it with a stock strap where it just keeps falling on your nose. There's absolutely no discomfort like that with Quest Pro because, first of all, it comes with this solid hat strap that you can't even really adjust much. But the way it sits in your head is really, really comfortable. You can check all of the videos that I made, and I used pretty much like 90% of the footage that they sent me, and not a single time did I have to adjust my headset to make it sit more comfortably on my face. But I still have to do it occasionally with Quest 2, even with the Bobo strap. So that says something about comfort, and that says something about the importance of the weight or the effect. I wouldn't say that there's any negative effect about that. Light doesn't always, it's still not heavy, but it doesn't have to be lighter than Quest to be comfortable. Okay. Yeah, we talked about the controllers. Unfortunately, because they basically pack a computer of their own, it means that they have a very similar playtime as Quest Pro, so about 2 hours. Yeah, no power, no fast charging is a bummer. I will need to be testing how fast it charges while working. I hope that it's not going to be disappointing. Yeah, battery in the back. I'm gonna miss that, man. I'm gonna miss it so much. Like with this, I'm still gonna be using my Quest 2 probably sometimes, but this is just so nice. It's gonna be a sad day when we can't have it, but I have faith in Bobo. I think that they're going to come up with something that will just attach there. Haptics in controllers are very fine-tuned. Like they're much more kind of sensitive compared to Quest to Quest. I think with Quest it still feels more like rumbling, and that, I don't know, just it's so much finer, those little vibrations that you're getting when you do the smallest thing, like when you're writing on the whiteboard, or if you're, I don't know, throwing something. Yeah, it's, you can definitely feel, you can tell the difference. And there was another little app that we tried that would kind of take advantage of these, not take advantage of them, but it would demonstrate all the all the different types of haptic feedback you can get. And one of them was like when you're grabbing like a wooden cube or some kind of a glass ball, and if you press the controllers stronger, then it would break, and it would give you some feedback to that as well. It was pretty fun. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, the clarity was just amazing, and compared to Quest 2 especially, like the clarity and the sweet spot was something that was very impressed with. Your eyes don't get tired. I didn't see the blurry parts at all because of the sweet spot and how like more encompassing it was. I can definitely like easily read text in VR, and like even the menu, like I got a glimpse of the menu of Quest Pro. It looks very similar to Quest 2, by the way. Really not many changes. It just looked like I was wearing Quest 2, just with a different home environment, but the crispness of the text and like the menu buttons there were really nice. Yeah, and I don't know if the self-checking controllers is definitely a great improvement, and it just kind of depends on how much you've suffered from the fact that controllers that you have with Quest 2 are not working if you put them like behind your back or behind your head. I personally never had any real issues with tracking on Quest 2. I understand that controllers with Quest Pro are better, but I was kind of more excited about getting rid of this ring, because those controllers are really tiny and they are not really going anywhere outside of your hands. So when you're holding it like this is where your controller is. And they're really small, and the button positioning is very familiar. So you'll grab them and you'll immediately start doing all the cool VR things with it. There's no getting used to. There's no like learning curve, nothing. They kind of just captured the best part about it and removed the ring. And of course the tracking. I also kind of like the fact that they included the charging dock in it. That would be so meta of them not to include it and just say that you have to buy it if you want for an extra $100, like a charging dock. But no, it comes in the box. Although for $1,500, I think they could have included a lot more than that. For exercise apps, why would you use Quest Pro for exercise apps? For exercise apps, you don't care about like graphics, you don't care about the power, you don't care about collaboration or productivity, like in the workplace or in the office. I mean, no, I honestly don't think so. I don't think that it's a worthy upgrade if you only want to do gaming, and even more so, I don't think that you will need to spend so much money just for a workout device. And plus, like I don't think it's even made for active, like super active movements either. That's something I'll have to try as well. Gamers still willing to pick up this device. And surprisingly, I've seen and I've talked to quite a few people who have pre-ordered them and are super excited about it, even though they only plan to use it for gaming. And yeah, it does offer some great features like the color pass-through. I've mentioned this in my video. One of the first thing I'm going to be testing is all the mixed reality apps that I have on my Quest. I will try them with Quest Pro just to see how cool it's going to look in a full color stereoscopic pass-through. It's going to be really exciting. And face tracking and eye tracking. So I don't do too many social apps in VR. But like Zenith, for example, is a multiplayer game. It's not a social app per se. It's a game that features multiplayer, but face and eye tracking will be supported there. And I love Zenith, so it's going to be cool. But what I want to see is developers taking advantage of eye tracking for actual UI. So you have seen how in PlayStation VR 2, there was this little glimpse of the trailer where you can make a menu selection by just moving your eye, and that is the next level UI design with the successful eye tracking incorporation. And you can easily see something like that in Quest Pro. Like, it's easily done. and it will be done. Like I truly believe that very soon, like post launch of the headset, we will see so many cool VR apps developed with that in mind, because Meta are sharing all these SDKs and all of these creator kits for developers to use them easily in their game creations. So they'll be able to like animate their characters using the face tracking and eye tracking. They'll be able to use the eye tracking for like some kind of in-game interactions. Like for example, you can break a window with just like by looking at it or by blinking, I don't know, or like pop some balloons. So all of that just by eye tracking. And how I know this, that it works well, because the one thing I did try that was with eye tracking was actual calibration app. And I don't have a video of that, but you can just imagine that there is this flying orb. You calibrate your eye tracking by kind of following the orb around. It moves in this direction for like 10 seconds, and that's it. And then you have like a flying ball that looks like a snitch from Harry Potter, and wherever you look, it follows your gaze. And it's so simple, and it's not even a game. It's just a demonstration that it was calibrated correctly. But moving that flying snitch with just your eyes honestly felt like the coolest thing in the entire demo. And it's not, and they don't even have a single game that would like take advantage of this eye tracking in such a creative way, and that was really sad to me. But they said that, come on, we gave it to developers, they'll be able to create something very soon. So we're gonna wait and see what they create. Okay, let me read what you guys are saying. Yeah, keep face tracking on for VR chat. Was the visual fidelity or sweet spot noticeably better than Quest 2? Yeah, probably mentioned that like twice. So yes, even third time, I will never be tired of saying that yes, the sweet spot was so much better and bigger. You don't, like, if you, after you put on the headset, you won't even need to readjust it after you've set it for the first time. You'll just ready to go, and everything is super sharp and clear. Yeah, so hand tracking was good. I only used it with the Horizon Workrooms to type on the keyboard, and to teleport. I think they used hand tracking to teleport, like from table to table, or if you want to do group session or breakout rooms. But yeah, hand tracking was good so far, but definitely needs more testing on my part. Will it be able to support 120 FPS in the future? I think so. Like, I honestly think so. Because isn't that the same story with Quest 2 that started supporting 90 Hz later on and then 120? I don't really see why they wouldn't introduce it to begin with at the start, but I want to believe that yeah, this is something that they can introduce with future updates to this headset. What else? Hello, Venser. How long do controllers last after charging? Yes, address that as well. Unfortunately, not long. They'll have probably the same battery as the Quest Pro and will be working for about 2 hours before you need to charge them again. In comparison to HoloLens 2 for AR in the Quest Pro, the same in this aspect? So no, I think, if I remember correctly, I tried HoloLens like 3 years ago, and I think that in HoloLens you still have kind of like glasses with the image produced on them. Here is the cameras that are reproducing your entire environment, and also in HoloLens you can almost only see like a very little like part is being generated, so it's completely different. But I do think that it's competing with it because it's stronger in those capabilities, has more features, and it's cheaper. It's much cheaper. Yes, so Zenith will have eye and face tracking. I believe that I saw like in the store, there will be like new icons in front of every game that would say whether it supports eye tracking or face tracking, and Zenith will be supporting that. yeah, I also think that they should be adding 120 hertz. Well, Lynx should be a more affordable headset too, and Lynx does offer more advanced AR capabilities compared to Pico, but I think that Lynx is not going to be targeting businesses as much as Quest Pro. So maybe it would be a more consumer focused AR device. And I hope that this is what's going to happen, because like I don't want to, and I'm sure that you also don't want to overpay for all the features that mostly like businesses and corporations would need, but you would still like a cool piece of technology that can take advantage of AR apps for consumers. So hopefully Lynx is going to be that. Oh yeah, the spatial audio was, yeah, that was also another like really impressive thing. I will go back to the example with Horizon Workrooms because that's the app where I got to chat to several people in the same room, and as you're switching the rooms, you're seeing at these different desks. If the person is sitting to your left, you can hear the sound, and it also changes the volume. What you can hear, whether they're sitting close to you or whether they're sitting on the other side of the room. You almost can't hear them if they're far away. So it imitates how this sound travels to you through distance. So for example, if you are having like little groups, I don't know, in some kind of a meeting, if you're split into different groups, if you're in your group and you speak just in your normal tone, you're not yelling, then the other people on the other side of the room in a different group, they will not be able to hear you. Or if someone is presenting by the whiteboard and people are sitting a little bit farther away from them at their desks, they can like whisper to each other a little bit, and that person will not be able to hear them. Unlike in like most of the apps that everybody's kind of like the same same volume, and there's no privacy if your microphone is turned on. So yeah, that works really well, and I got to experience that with Horizon Workrooms, and I think that is going to be important for social apps as well. Let's see, what else? DisplayPort doesn't support it. Okay, yeah. I already talked about the screen and reading small text. Another question about writing code. I think it will be possible. Like it's definitely clear enough for small text, for fine fonts. I'm more concerned about how, just like mentally and physically, how are you going to feel after spending 3-4 hours writing code in VR? That's something there's no way I could test that, because my demo lasted for like an hour total, and an hour and a half, and I was trying different apps all the time. I wasn't just staring at the screens writing code this whole time. So from the visual clarity perspective, yes, absolutely, you can do that. You can write code, you can probably even like edit a video. One of the things I want to do when I get it, I want to make a video and I want to edit it completely in VR. Like I want to see how it's going to feel, how the quality of that video is going to be, and just like as an experiment, whether it's actually going to be a productive experience. Okay. The contrast being better. Yes, the contrast was better. And what allows that contrast is the local dimming backlight. I actually don't even know if I mentioned that or if I had to cut it from the video just to not make it too lengthy, but the local dimming backlight basically means that certain areas of the display are going to be lit differently depending on the colors that are being shown. So unlike just regular displays that all the displays being lit up, and that's why the black kind of becomes dark gray instead of black, in this headset the blacks will be true black because they will not be lit. The light behind those black and darker areas will be dimmed, and the brighter areas will be lit, and that's how you'll get those contrasting colors really pop. And I really wish that they would give us some more immersive experiences, some like actual like immersive games to try, and not just mixed reality experiences so that I could test those vivid colors even more. The most vivid apps that I've tried were like Figment. Some of the Figment scenes were really bright and vivid and colorful, and Horizon Workrooms had a few offices or like environments where you could teleport to and work from there, like a beautiful beach or like a concrete jungle, like a big city, and those colors were really popping. But I wanted to try like dark experiences. I wanted to see the blacks. But based on this dimming, local dimming backlight, it should be pretty impressive. Written notes through pass-through AR cameras. Written notes depends on how small, or depends on how big they are. So when I was typing, I could see the letters on the keyboard. So you can look at your keyboard right now and you can see how small those letters are. I could see them. Not perfectly, but I could tell which letter is which. It's impossible to do in Quest 2. You can't tell the letters, but I could do with that full color pass through. Now, if your handwriting is smaller than the letters that you see on your keyboard, then maybe not. If they're bigger, then yes. How does it look? I think it looks cool. Like it's a cool looking device. It's a little similar to Lynx and HoloLens too, so I wouldn't say that the design is completely like revolutionary. But no, it looks professional. It was comfortable, and yeah, I would make a new avatar with that headset. I wonder if they're gonna keep making professional headsets black and consumer like Quest 2 white. That would be a nice way to kind of differentiate them. Let's see. Sensors. So the headset has 10 advanced VR and MR/MR sensors. They support 6 degrees of freedom, inside out SLAM tracking, and full color mixed reality and eye and face tracking. As for controllers, there are 3 camera sensors per controller. Oh yeah, absolutely. Quest Pro can most definitely be used for games like Resident Evil and PC VR. Look, Resident Evil would be a great game to test those dark colors and to see those contrasts. Again, this headset is made for work, but it can be used for play. You are going to take advantage of a slightly better FOV. You're going to be taking advantage of better colors. Eye face tracking is mostly for social apps, but still, like, visuals and clarity and colors are noticeably better than on Quest 2. And all of that will result in a much better experience when you're playing these games. And don't forget that it has a new chipset, that's Snapdragon XR2 Plus, which is optimized for VR to run at 50% more power than Quest 2. And it has a better thermal dissipation, so it shouldn't overheat as much. And it contributes to the fact that this headset doesn't really have a very impressive battery life, but in terms of the performance, it's going to be a huge upgrade. Vive Focus 3, I did not. That's the headset I did not try, sadly. I've transitioned to more of a headset reviews relatively recently, I would say. That one was still something that precedes that time. But there's a chance that more headsets from Pimax are going to be coming. And there's a very high chance that I'll be reviewing those. Yes, those, not just that. There will be more than one. And yeah. So you know, even without Vive Focus 3, there's going to be so many headsets to review. I definitely want to order PSVR 2 when it's available. Pico 4 is coming as well, and this headset, of course, will have a more in-depth review. So it's going to be really exciting times. Yes, I will be reviewing Pico 4. I just tweeted today that I managed to order it to be delivered to the US sometime, you know, late October, like October 21st, and I'll try to do the review as soon as I receive it. No, I didn't notice any lens fogging. Again, for me, lens fogging occurs if I'm doing some more active, like active, I don't know, like trying active apps, and especially when there is a like full blocking. And I tried no blocking at all, so no light blockers on the sides, and partial blockers. So there was always a gap by my nose. Partial blockers are the ones that are covering like only the sides of your eyes, and yeah, that didn't cause any fogging, and I don't think that I would have that with these partial blockers. Full blockers, I don't know. Well, it's disappointing that they are not including the full light blockers in the box, because if you are buying this headset for gaming, then prepare to add the extra $50 to your budget to get this headset. I absolutely don't believe that you will be able to enjoy immersive VR games without a full light blocker, because you have this really large gap by your nose when you're using it. Yeah, I'm just trying to, let me see if maybe I can find it. So it's probably the, yeah, that's the accessory review. Essentially, this one I don't use any blockers because that's an XR app, but some of them have. Yeah, you can even see my eyes. That's so weird. It's so weird you're wearing a headset and you can literally see the person's eyes. Yeah. But basically, when you are wearing these side blockers, it's completely like sticking to your face. But by the nose, you will always be able to see like your keyboard or something. You definitely need a full light blocker to be completely isolated. No, it was definitely more immersive. Like, it's still not the most impressive FOV. Honestly, the last different headset I tried with was Pimax 8KX, and that one is very hard to compete with. But I've been told that Pico has a slightly higher FOV. I choose to sort of try it on my own and see whether it's gonna bother me or how I'm gonna feel it. But yeah, Quest 2 feels like a potato after trying Pimax. Honestly, I always see the ski mask, like kind of looking at everything through the tunnel. It felt differently with Quest Pro, but then again, very strategically, they gave us only the mixed reality apps to try, so that you can always see your real surrounding even when you're wearing a headset. So your brain didn't even focus on that edge, because especially without the light blockers, you can see your real world anyway. Focus 3 is 1300, so they seem comparable. I guess, yeah, but yeah, I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to do more research to see how they're comparable in terms of their like actual functionality, and not just the price. Oh, thank you so much, Dan. Oh, that's that's very sweet of you to say it and to donate this. Thank you. Honestly, this review has sucked all the life out of me, because some of the pieces of this information we received like 4 days before the review. I mean, the Meta Connect event would go live, so we were scrambling to make the best reviews that we could, because obviously we wanted to deliver the best quality. And by us, like, I mean me and Steve knows. And this is I'm very happy that I got to try it. I'm so happy that I get to share it with you now and answer some of your questions. I would I would hate to see some of you spend this money on something that is disappointing to you, or something that you're not using for what you thought that you would be. Yeah, it's important to get these hands-on reviews. I'm honored that I'm one of the people who get to deliver this to you. Yeah, it does feel like wearing binoculars, right? Especially if you have tried a headset with a better FOV, you can't unsee it anymore. You crave for better quality. Does external light cause glare on the lens when you're not using blockers? Ooh, oh, I should have taken a better note of that about glare. I think I did see some glare, but I will need to look into that. I will take a note of this. Glare would definitely be an important thing that I'll be looking at when I'm testing it. Thank you for that question. I mean, not just 1 hour, it's probably going to be up to 2 hours, but it's not much better, is it? Uh, 4 or 5 hours controllers? I didn't hear that from reliable sources. I don't know where you heard that. Full body tracking? No. Not as far as I know, not as far as I've been told. The sensors are tracking your face, your eyebrows, your mouth, your cheeks even, and your eyes, of course, but not your legs. Okay, actually maybe legs. From what I tried, I didn't get to try like full body tracking. What I saw yesterday shocked me when they showed me the full body tracking. If they have this secret technology that I didn't get to try, I'll be really mad, because I really want to have legs in VR. And yeah, so far I've been trying the legless avatars, the ones that Mark showed yesterday. I did not get to try. I wasn't even aware of that. So we'll see. I will make a separate video about full body tracking if I know more about it. Hey Toast, how's the comfort? So I think I will mention this again. When I put on the headset, I'm sorry, I forgot to blow myself up again right here. So when I put on the headset for the first time, I kind of like tighten it on my back, and I think I tighten it just a little bit too hard, because I'm used to having it I'm used to having it really tight to make it secure so that it doesn't wiggle around. And I thought that I have to do the same with this one, and I just kept tightening and tightening and tightening it. And at the end, it turns out that I didn't have to do all that. It didn't have to be as tightened as I did it, and it resulted in the mark on my forehead that I didn't even feel like it was hurting me. But it looked terrible. Like, it looked really red, and you would think that I hurt myself. I didn't. I just have really sensitive skin. And after I kind of made it a little bit looser in my head, it felt like great. And it because of the material that these cushions are made of, they're sort of like rubbery, and they almost like stick to your skin in a way so that it doesn't wiggle. It doesn't move around or shift around in your head or your face. And that felt great. And throughout the entire testing, like when I was testing the headset, I never had to readjust it or like fix it to make it more comfortable. I know like my husband, whenever he tries Quest 2, he always complains about it putting the pressure on his nose. And this one doesn't even like touch your nose. So yeah, it's really comfortable if you get the gear in the back right. If you get the FOV right, it's very clear. Weight distribution is amazing as well. I've heard some people kind of being concerned about this headset being heavier than Quest 2, and I'm gonna show it the third time. So of course I have Bobo here, so it's heavier. And in fact, with the Bobo, I'll need to weigh it. There's a fact that it's going to be just as heavy as Quest Pro, because I have a plastic strap, and the original weight of Quest 2 is with the soft strap, but most of the weight is here, of course. So this is 500 gram and some change. And then the Quest Pro is 700 and some change, but probably about like half of it is on the back. So it's a very nice distribution, and I felt no discomfort with that. Of course, I would have to try it a little bit more. Bobo VR like M2 Plus is the one I'm trying here. It's tested for hours and hours and hours of playtime, sometimes like 4 or 5 hours at a time, and I know that it works for me. With Quest Pro, it didn't pass the test of time yet, so I'm gonna have to put it to real test, like play something for a very prolonged time and see what my face looks like after that. Yeah, it's a must, right? I mean, they literally made a head strap that can't be replaced. They put a battery at the back. If there's one thing you have to prioritize with this is comfort. So that will be that will be a very, very bad decision if they try to do something and didn't ensure that it's comfortable. Controller battery life, maybe. Okay, El Wizard, you might have joined late. We've talked about controller battery life. It's about 2 hours, unfortunately, and there's no fast charging, so it is. It's a drag. It's a drag. 2 full weeks and can return in store, Best Buy, or whatever works for you. Let me know, by the way. After you receive it, Eddie, let me know if you decide to keep it or return it after 2 weeks. Is it worth the price? Depends on what you're buying it for. If you're buying it for productivity, collaboration, creativity, 100%. If you're buying it for gaming, that's a little bit trickier. It kind of depends on how much you're willing to to spend on having a better clarity. But there's a competition in terms of gaming. Maybe Quest, PlayStation VR 2 will be a better option for you. I'm looking forward to both of them. I mean, PlayStation VR 2 is like on my list to get as soon as it goes on to pre-order. Did you play Beat Saber? No. I was so surprised. They didn't have us play Beat Saber on it. I mean, they're so proud of it. It wasn't there. Are you gonna do reviews on Quest Pro? 100%. 100%. I will be doing reviews on Quest Pro. Reviews. Multiple. Yes. Spider Monkey! Set a notification bell. That's okay. We're actually going to be doing more live streams. I like it. I really, really like it. Thanks for joining, by the way. Thanks all for joining. This is quite enjoyable. For the are you asking, Brewhog? Are you asking for Quest Pro? I'm going to be getting a review unit. Okay, some of the questions I've already covered. Yeah, so I at some point I'll try to answer questions that haven't been asked yet. Some of them I've already answered. Yeah, let's see. Are there any other questions? Anything about maybe the apps? Because the second video I made was about the actual apps that I was trying. I was surprised that they were not shown in the event yesterday. I was so sure that all the apps that I got to try, the testing would be also showcased in the event, but some of them I didn't get to try, and they weren't showcased. Like Demio would have this full pass-through kind of AR mode. It looks amazing. I shared it on my Twitter. Oh, another very cool app that is for professionals, but I can totally see it being used for gaming too, that kind of technology. So does eye and face tracking work via Link or PC? Good question. Ooh, I think that will depend on the app. Definitely, if there is a like an official Rift store, the apps like Horizon Workrooms should have that support too. If you're asking more like Steam VR games, probably not. But that's a great question. I will ask that. Peripheral vision when you don't have the blinders on. Seamlessly, no. It's not a seamless blend. Of course, you can still see the edges of the lens, but it's much better than just having a fully immersive VR experience that you don't have the blockers on. You can see the real life. So no, it's not completely seamless, but it's comfortable enough for it not to bother you, if that makes sense. It's pretty comfortable in that regard. But even the pass through, like, it still doesn't look just quite like the real life. You can tell that the colors are being overlaid on top of the black and white reality, but the stereoscopic view makes it so much better. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tell you quickly about this app called Arkeo. And Arkeo is an app that was made for architects. So it's made, if you're an architect, you work a lot with spaces and objects, and it's hard to display them in a 2D screen, or even in a 3D, it's still on the screen. So with Arkeo, the way it works is that this device can scan your room, can create sort of like a realistic 3D model of it, sort of like in a pass-through mode. And then not only can it add things on top of it, like add a new chair or add a new couch or curtains to your window, but it can remove your real life objects. So if you had a chair here, you can like remove it, but it's still your room. It still feels like you're in your room, but the real chair is removed. And it can go and do more complicating things like that. Like if you have a wall, it can create a window in that wall and see what it's going to look like. Or remove a door a window. Or remove a window, like a real window, from your room. So completely redesign it. Not just generate on top of your reality, but actually modify your reality and create these scenes. So for architecture or for like design, you can design your room before really making any changes like in real life. So that was cool. But what I was thinking about for gaming, that would create mind-blowing mixed reality experiences where you like imagine you're in your room and there's like an alien ship behind your window and it's breaking your window and your wall, and there's like glass everywhere and you have to like fight the aliens or something like that. Like that will be possible. That will be possible to modify your reality to create this fantastic, supernatural scenarios that are specific to your environment. So I thought that was amazing, and it can go in lots of directions. So, okay, now I'm back to answering some of your questions. Yes, so Jimmy, the scale is the same. It does feel just like the real life. I was impressed by that. And if you remember, like the black and white pass-through on Quest 2 feels kind of flat, almost 2D because it's monoscopic. So some of the mixed reality experiences that are generated on top of that reality feel very like a 3D on a 2D. So that app that I tried, Piano Vision, where the little notes are dropping on top of your real piano and you're hitting the notes based on where those blocks are dropping. It's a cool concept of an app, but the technology in Quest 2 is not there to take full advantage of it because the keyboard feels flat, but the blocks that are falling on them are 3D. And that created that strange cognitive dissonance because of that. And I imagine that with Quest Pro, the ability of this device to transport that image as a stereoscopic 3D image of your real life and generate 3D objects in VR for it feels more natural. Like if there is a map, like a 3D map on top of my table or my desk, it feels like there is this map on my table. It doesn't feel like it's just like a random thing generated in front of me. Now, it's hard to explain. It's hard to like explain the depth with words. And even if I have it recorded, you wouldn't be able to see the difference because it's on a 2D screen. So it's something that you have to see to really understand this difference in depth that the pass-through gives you. Right. Yeah, so I can reading your comments about that game now. Yeah, star of my own action movie. Yeah, in my own living room. Hopefully that will be a way to actually record the pass-through on Quest Pro, because seriously, how are we going to show off all those mixed reality experiences without being able to record them directly in the headset? You're gonna have to try SideQuest again. Yeah, Quest Pro doesn't support 120 Hz for now. It supports 72 and 90 for now. We hope that it's going to support 120 in the future, but that's a speculation, not a fact. They did announce cloud gaming services. It was a surprise to me as well. I look forward to learning more about it and trying. I think it's gonna be amazing if it's something integrated and you can play like computer Xbox games without a PC. Awesome. Hey, Rizal. Okay, we already talked about controllers a lot today. Controllers are glitchy on Quest 2. I mean, they are not supposed to be glitchy. If your Quest 2 controllers are glitchy, then maybe there's something wrong with their controllers, because I mean, I'm also obviously having Quest 2 controllers, and I was lucky to never really have any tracking issues with them. So they're not supposed to be glitchy unless you put them behind your headset so that the cameras of the headset cannot see them. Yes, there are still a 3.5mm jack. In fact, let me show you something here. So they some of the accessories that you'll be able to get with this headset are these earphones. And I know they're still $49.99. It's kind of a lot, but here they are. They're being connected. I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit. They are actually 2 ports, one for each side. So they are separate, and one of these is being connected to the left side and another one is connected to the right. And that's how your audio will be transmitted to these earbuds. Now, they are official ones that you can get from Meta, but you don't have to. This is just a regular 3.5mm port. You can get any other ones that kind of work like that. I've seen several on Amazon that are cheaper than $49.99, but I can't speak for the quality of the sound that you'll get with third-party headphones. It depends on what you get. Yeah, I already talked about hand tracking a little bit. Sorry, I don't want to let this stream run out for too long by kind of reiterating on the things that we've already discussed. I'm still waiting. Maybe there's some questions that are new and I haven't addressed them yet. The Quest 2, if there are any benefits. Yeah, that's a tough one, honestly. I don't want to seem biased. Like, it kind of depends on how much these controllers bother you, or if there's anything about these controllers that's bothering you. Personally, based on my experience, if I wasn't getting the Quest Pro for review, I probably would be happy with these controllers enough to not invest, just because I can't really think of any experience where I would put my controllers behind my head and I would need the tracking. I was one of the lucky users who never really had any serious issues with controller drifting or tracking that's not like working properly. The fine feedback that you get, like a better haptic touch, you wouldn't even know the difference unless you try it. I would say that if you want to spoil yourself a little bit, but not too much, right? You want to spoil yourself to enough to spend $300, but not enough to spend $1,500. I would probably indulge in the idea of getting them and seeing the difference. If you get it from Best Buy, you probably would be able to return them as well if you don't feel like it's worth it. I'll be honest, I'm not like 100% convinced that there's such a great value in these controllers that you would spend $300 if all you're getting is the controllers and not the headset. I might be missing something, I don't know, but as for now, I know that there are controllers that are more expensive than that, like index controllers cost, I think, $300 a piece. But with Quest 2, you already get controllers. Like, it's not like you don't have a choice. So as for an upgrade, I personally don't think that that kind of upgrade is worth $300. But yeah, anyway, that's just what I think. You can do whatever you want. So Quest Pro controller is going to be the best controllers for the next few headsets, and we could buy just headsets with their controllers. Yeah, that's what my hope is, right? That it's not just the Quest Pro that's going to support these controllers. There's going to be more headsets that will be supporting them, and it will be kind of like an accessory that can be cross-compatible with lots of different headsets. I mean, that would make sense, right? So that would be a good reason to get them, I think, just to prepare yourself for all these generations. No, Quest 2 controllers are not compatible with Quest Pro. I think someone did ask that question during the presentation or something, but no, that's not. You also, I mean, you don't buy the controllers separately either. If they gave you an option like to shave $300 from the total price and spend $1,200 instead of $1,500, then that would be cool if you could just use the controllers, but no. Can we play PCVR games or run Quest games on PCVR with those services? Quest Pro will support AirLink and link cable. All the Quest library will be compatible. So far, it's like backwards compatible, forwards compatible. So I haven't heard of any exclusive games yet. I asked, it told me there's no exclusive games for Quest Pro. All the games that work with Quest Pro will work on Quest 2 and vice versa, except if eye tracking and face tracking will be disabled, obviously, on Quest 2. Cloud gaming. I'm not sure. I don't have any information beyond what we learned yesterday. We were not briefed on cloud gaming during the presentation. That's actually quite like it was interesting when I was watching the Connect event. I'm glad that there were some things that were still surprising and like yeah, not enough surprises though. I was hoping for more surprises. I was hoping for more gaming surprises. Yeah, no like true forced feedback. Yeah. Hand tracking feels about the same. Again, not nearly enough time to test hand tracking in practice. Enough to give a solid answer to that. So it's another topic on the top of my list when I get the headset. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that I have answered quite a few questions in this stream. I'm glad that you had so much to ask because I feel like this was really helpful to clarify a few things. And it gave me an opportunity to gather some of the questions that maybe I couldn't answer for future testing when I do receive the headset. To fill in those gaps that are impossible to fill before we actually get the headset in the hands. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was amazing. Like I said, I actually love this kind of streaming and talking to you, and I was able to share some things that maybe would be it would make videos too long, and it gives a little bit of a more personal look at these experiences I've had. And yeah, I love it. I love it. Thanks for making this so much fun. I will definitely be doing more live streams in the near future. Thank you, Brewhog. Oh my goodness. You're too sweet. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I can tell you even now, the next live stream is going to be this Saturday, and it's going to be different. So I will be live streaming for the first time ever a multiplayer game. Oh goodness, Ocean of Stars, thank you so very much. Make sure to send more questions if you have them, either not under the videos. Better to join my Discord and ask there, because there are people who are really passionate about this technology, and they can join you in this discussion, or I can answer your questions there more quickly. So thank you, Resolve. Guys, you're amazing. Oh my goodness, I love it. We're gonna definitely do this again and have some kind of a party in VR. But yeah, this Saturday, please join my stream, as I'm going to try to stream a game, and hopefully this time microphones will work better than yesterday. It's going to be a multiplayer game created in Horizon Worlds, believe it or not. So unfortunately, not all of you will be able to access it, but for those of you who can, it's free. And it's actually made by the developers of a PC game, State of Survival. They created a PC game, and they created an Android, like a mobile game. And now they made a VR version of this game in Horizon Worlds in conjunction with Meta. And me and 7 other creators are gonna be joining in and playing live. So it's gonna be super messy, but one thing I can guarantee is gonna be really, really fun. Specific time is TBD, but it is going to be Saturday evening my time, so it's gonna be evening, like US time. I will be sending updates about that, but it would be really cool to see you all in there. Thank you so much, everyone, again for joining. I had a blast. And I hope that you'll have a very nice rest of the evening or of the day. I will see you again very soon, either on Discord or in the next videos. Stay safe, and as always, happy gaming. Bye bye, guys.